All righty, traders. This is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Morning Edge webinar. Hope everybody's having a great trading day. It's a little slow out there, and we continue to see the euro just maintain its gains. Actually, the Aussie's pretty well bid, especially following that news last night. The cable slipped back a little bit, but remember, we're in the apex of a triangle with the sterling, so it's going to be kind of whippy, and obviously it is following the Bank of England. But I'll tell you what, this triangle breakout is going to be probably a pretty big one. I mean, I guess let's go over to the daily chart here. This has been really, if you can see where we've really just started rejecting support and resistance levels. I mean, we've been building this for a month, right? And it's really tightened up the last few days. So, just as easy as we can get an upside break, we could get a downside break as well. But you're going to have to see, in my opinion, at this stage, especially now that we've gotten past the Bank of England and we know that, one of the members is fighting the trend now. That's, increasing the risk that we're going to start seeing some more hawkish members come in with the Bank of England. We're then at risk of probably moving higher, but you're going to need the rest of the dollar complex to move. And I think that's where you have the euro dollar that's, now that it's well above 20, now the risk is that we start, looking for a possible breakout higher. It just, it's pullbacks are shallow. So let's figure that out as far as the euro goes. 119.90 obviously is support. Resistance is 120.80. 6 is the fib, but you also have this resistance spike high right here at 120.75. So I'm going to write down 120.85. And I think that's going to be important for today. I'm going to flip us back to bullish. Now, you are probably looking at that saying, Blake, why are we going to switch it back to bullish? Because we came out of the wedge. So we came out of the wedge, and if you just think about like this last trend that we're following, and it's only been a 38% retracement, yeah, we got to keep it on bullish now. I mean, I think the risks are building that we break above this 121.50. That could happen as soon as tomorrow. Imagine the data comes out and the data's relatively, it's like good, but not great. So like let's say that the jobs data creates 850,000 jobs. That's like the porridge is warm, right? So not too hot, not too cold, just warm enough to keep the market going. All right, here's the sterling. So resistance now is at 139. Well, as we wrote here, 139.50 would be a triangle breakout. So we need, I'm actually going to write today's highs. Screw that. We break it above 139.40, and that's probably going to turn us to bullish. And you could actually take it to 50, whatever, but I think it's over today's highs. Then obviously below these lows right here, which would be 138.35, would be bearish. Ooh, we're getting close. We are getting close to a breakout. And futures are rallying here. Aussie. One, two, three, false breakdown, 4, Oh boy. A lot of people have been kind of bearish this Aussie, myself included. Got to be really careful if we get above this resistance here. That's a 618 retracement, horizontal resistance. I'm going to write down 77.65, and I'm going to put an asterisk at it, because I think if we get above that, then we are at risk of blasting through all this resistance here. Guys, I'm still looking at equities, thinking that pullbacks have been pretty shallow, right? So support, I'll just write down 77 cents because, it's dips down here that keep finding buyers. Grab my coffee. You know what I'm sad about? I'm sad right now that the weather outside is nice to where I have my window open. You might be able to hear some birds. I have a pretty damn good microphone, so picking up background noise, you can't hear it like we used to hear it when I used to have my headset. But I think I'm only about 2 or 3 weeks before I'm not going to be able to open my windows in early in the morning because it's going to be too hot. Yeah. Yep. Tell you guys, if you never experienced an Arizona summer.
Stop complaining, man. Come on.
Arizona summers, man, when it's 95 degrees. What is 95 degrees for you?
95 Fahrenheit. Hold on. How much in Celsius? Hold on, let me check.
That's going to be 35 degrees.
35. That's actually not bad. When it gets to 40, that's when we get, well, it gets too hot. But 35 is good.
How about when it's 35 degrees Celsius at night?
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
That's like your low of the day.
July, August, it's aircon all the time in the house, all the time.
Yeah, us too. It's like that. That's when we have our lows in the 90s. It's brutal out. Yeah. And actually, we have some nights where it's 100. So like that's our low.
That's tough.
Which is
that's tough.
There's a couple weeks like that. It's just brutal. But anyway, I'm a little bummed out because I have the windows open in the morning when I get up, and oh my God, the Canadian's just crapping the bed right now. Let's go take a look at it. We are coming down to 122, 121. I'm still gonna hold out for 121.85, guys. That's really key channel support. Bearish. False breakout over here. So, but I've been saying, while we're below 123.65, we stay bearish, but now it's 122.65. So, okay. Kiwi, sorry, back to Kiwi channel support will be down here at 71.50, and I'm gonna assume that if we break above these highs, we're going back to 73 cents. So I'm gonna write down 2 levels, one at 72.25. Then 73. Craig says Dubai was 35 degrees at night. God, I mean, I can only do it for so long, Craig. I mean, it's just really, we have like maybe about a month and a half of that weather month. It's like I really want to. We have a lot of cases in Arizona of road rage when people drive. And it's really heat related, in my opinion. It's huge. And, you know, you can only deal with that for so long. $90.80, you guys know, is support. We've been writing that down, but man, if we break that, we're going to $90.30, which is the 618 retracement. So, and that's also horizontal support resistance right there. So I have to write that down this morning. 90.30. Whoops. That's the 618. So I'm going to put an asterisk next to it. And the fact of the matter is the Swissy has not been able to bounce. Right? That's a fact. And that's, if you're long the Swissy, you're probably like, holy crap, this thing will not even bounce. I know I've been writing down 92 cents as resistance, but we're going to have to be a little bit more, I think, granular on our analysis here, because this trend line is capping us. So that would be any rally back to 91. Let's just call it 91.55.
Can I just say one thing? Steve, go get some rest. He's here. I see him.
Steve, what the hell, man?
Anyway, carry on.
So Steve is, so if you guys can do us a favor, when Steve comes back, he might be in the restroom or something. When Steve comes back, tell him to go back to sleep. He was on a long meeting. He only slept a few hours. No one wants to hear him. He should go back to sleep and get some sleep. Right? All right. Simon says it moves because of you. Laugh out loud. Just as Blake types loony moves, no comment. Hey, you know what? This thing has just been bearish. It's, you know, Amir asked in the chat room about what, an hour ago or half an hour ago. He's like, anybody want to, you know, join me in trying to catch a knife with the Canadian?
Hey guys, I heard you called me.
And I told him that no, just, you know, wake me up when we get to 122, because I don't want to try that. Steve, we just said leave, go get some sleep, and no one on the webinar wants to hear you this morning. We already told everybody to.
Yeah, we voted. We voted, and we don't want
to. Yep, everybody that's listening in right now to the morning,
you'll have to tolerate me.
Is rejecting to listen to Steve. So as soon as you come on, everybody's gonna just shut it down. You need to go take a nap and go rest.
No, I'm fine.
Okay, fine. You guys are stuck with him. We tried. Yeah. We tried.
Yeah. Tough luck.
839 is resistance for the Norwegian krona. As you guys know, we stay bearish while we're below that. Like we wrote down yesterday, support's going to be 824, 825. I'll write down that just near term. Nothing big there. Dollar MEX, same. And this is one of those, if for some reason risk ever turns lower, I have to buy the dollar Mexican peso. It's just like, no, there's no if and or buts about it. But for right now, it's hard to do it when stocks continue to grind higher. So, whoops, that would be 2040, right? I guess we should write 2038. Support is at 20, as you guys know, same as before. And this is one of those things that if stocks continue to press higher, like you can see the Dow's, you know, it's at its like North American morning highs right now, you know, ahead of the open. You know, the dollar Mexican peso may be looking good right now, but if the stock market continues to press higher, it could very easily do one of these and then bounce back. You know what I mean? I think it's bullish overall. It's really trying to, you know, hold on. But if stocks stay bid, you know, it could slip really fast. You know, it could just pull back really quick.
Ding, ding, ding. The market's open.
Oh crap! It is. I forgot to log on to that account. Whoops. I had it up. I just didn't log in. Dollar yen, same as yesterday. 109.65. Support 108.35. Range bound. Dollar index. We keep rejecting the 91.35. Support in the dollar index right now is going to be 90.85. 85. $91.35. Okay. S&P. I'm going to write down resistance right here at 4,200. It's trend line meets trend line, which comes in around, 4,200. So we're going to write down, I think we wrote down yesterday too. So 4110, obviously, that's key. We stay bullish while we're above that. 4,200, 4,250, which would be the top of, actually we can go higher than that now. It'd be 4,270, but 4,250 is the 127% extension. So we're just going to leave it at that for now. Gold and silver, gold and silver, gold and silver, gold and silver. Gold knocking on heaven's door, right, Stelios?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it's just sitting there.
Silver is doing well as well today.
I'm sorry?
You'll have a look at silver afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. We're still bullish while we're above. You know what? Let's write down this 1760 and then 18. Let's just assume we break 1800. Then 1820 is the next resistance, which would be the 50% retracement from the double bottom, right? So it's a 50% retracement. 1821. Silver. Oh God, silver. We break above 27, then it should take us to the 618. I mean, I think $28, but you can see the big resistance zone around here. But we'll write down 2775 or 2780, which is the 618. So let's write down those numbers. Silver 27, then 2780. Oops. I know marking it as bullish. I think we mark it as bullish while we're above this 25.65. And Bitcoin has bounced back. I was pretty impressed by the bounce back in Bitcoin. I shouldn't be because of Ethereum back at 3,500, but Bitcoin is just getting dragged higher now, right? It's just getting dragged higher because of the rest of the crypto space. I still think 60,000 is resistance. Support right now is at 52.5. I still think it's range bound. I wouldn't classify it as bullish because it does not look like Dogecoin, does not look like Litecoin. It does not look like Ethereum. Bitcoin is definitely lagging, so we're going to keep it in range bound. We break back below 48,000 and this thing's going to go straight up to bearish, in my opinion. Okay. So that's it. Here's your bias chart. It is finished. And still, how's it going, Steve? looks like stocks are
how are
under a
you
little bit of
doing?
pressure right now.
Yep.
Steve, are you awake?
Yeah, I'm here. I spoke.
Did you get some rest?
No, unfortunately, I
Wow,
couldn't.
what are you doing here, man?
It's okay.
All right. Well, good to have you. And Amir said F off, Steve. Whoa. Whoa. Amir.
Tough
Damn, he comes out with the
language.
big guns.
Oh yeah.
Big guns. You know what? Based on how the dollar's reacting right now, I would actually buy this dip in the S&P. If you're intraday trading and you're that opening move lower in the S&P right here, I would buy that if you're just trading the S&P right now. I mean, look at the euro; it's about ready to hit highs, and the Aussie is back above 77.50. I mean, you know, whatever dip you're seeing right now, and the S&P, the Nasdaq below these lows, the Dow dipped a little bit. You just need to buy that dip. I mean, look at the S&P. Just, you know, again, the dollar is really weak here. So the dollar Canadian's at new lows. We're at 122.17. Anyway, all right. I'm going to let you guys take over. So,
Thank
As
you,
you
Blake.
know, I don't disagree.
yeah.
I mean,
All right, guys. Have a good one.
The trend is clearly higher.
It is. And, you know, the way the dollar's acting, you just kind of got to buy those dips. I think those are the easy ones. Oops.
Yep.
All right. See you guys later.
Thank
Bye-bye,
you,
mate.
Blake. Thank you. So, Steve, we talked about a couple of things on FA.C.E. We talked about the Bank of England maintaining rates unchanged, but Andy Haldane, the hawk, but he voted to reduce bond purchases. Yeah, reduce bond purchases by 25 billion out of the 875. But and the Bank of England said basically they're going to do the same amount of purchases, but they're going to probably do it at a slightly slower pace. So is that tightening? Not yet, but you know, it's a matter of what signal they're trying to give to the markets. The pound didn't really move on the back of it. I mean, 10, 20 pips here or there is not anything to mention. Otherwise, it's metals that are moving today, and there is also one other thing I wanted to mention. I posted it on the ForexAnalytix site as well, under the useful links section. There was an article on Reuters where there's a US court authorized the IRS to seek the identities of taxpayers who have used cryptocurrency. So, you know, it's it goes back to what I've said about cryptos. Obviously, there's people can make money off them, and you have use for it. But at the end of the day, the governments are either going to tax or regulate, or both, the crap out of it.
If you remember, we've talked about it a long time ago, saying that in essence, if cryptocurrencies end up being a success, that success can be their demise at the same time, because some of the initial premises about them had to do with, you know, anonymity, so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I think that people should start getting a little bit worried about it. I know they won't at the moment because, when you are in a bubble environment, nobody seems to care about anything. The problem with that, though, is that when things take a downturn, then suddenly everybody starts remembering all the likely factors that are negative, because that's how psychology works, right?
Yeah, you ignore everything while things are good, and
and then suddenly you have to start pricing in all the things that you refused to price in earlier, right? Because you didn't want to spoil the party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
So I think there's a very good chance that we're going to see that a very high chance actually that we're going to see something like that happening with cryptos, and a lot of people are going to be running for the doors at the same time when that happens, and we know what happens under circumstances like that. In any case,
Yeah.
definitely not going to be our personal problem. So let them deal with it when it comes to that. Anything else that we've had other than the news about the Bank of England?
Not much. We did talk about Norges Bank keeping rates unchanged, and they're still forecasting a rate hike late this year. And who was it? Was it Mac Chandler who said that
Yes,
Canada,
that
Canada and
Canada,
Norway
yeah.
are going to be the first ones? Yeah, I think he's right. I mean, Canada already are tapering, and Norges Bank definitely can hike. They're at 0%. Obviously, it's the all-time low, and their fundamentals, their economic fundamentals are doing pretty well, and oil price is rising. If they're not going to hike now, when are they going to hike? That's the thing. So,
speaking of which, NOK is knocking on the door again of this broken triangle trend line support acting as resistance. So from a risk reward perspective, looks quite appealing to be short here.
It's a nice retest, yes.
Yes, it is another. It's the second retest, and as long as we're holding below, there is no real technical reason for somebody to want to be long, especially against resistance. So if you want to do something with the NOK at the moment, selling it makes sense. You're risking little to, and you have the trend in your favor. If we get rejected from here, I think we are on our way to the round number of 8 next. So yeah, nothing has changed with the trend here. And since we mentioned the CAD as well, keep in mind that the same thing applies to the CAD, although there is one significant difference as you see here. And the difference is that the CAD is currently testing this channel trend line support. So, would you be selling it here? I wouldn't. Now, I'm not saying I would be long. I've advocated all this time that people should not be trying to fade this trend. I'm just saying that unless you've already participated for quite some time, as I've done with the NOK, for example, it's a rather mature trend. I don't think I would be selling it on top of support. In any case, the next downside target is the 120.60 multi-year low that we found in September of 2017. So keep that in mind. I mean, it's very, very easy for us to continue to retest that previous low. And needless to say, if we break to multi-year lows below that, of course, that's going to be another bearish signal. So in any case, no real respite for the dollar. I mean, we've had this short-term little recovery. In essence, it was less of a recovery and more of the dollar holding that support. But if you remember yesterday, I think it was yesterday, we talked about the DXY on the 4-hour chart, and I said that listen, there is a chance that this was all of it, the rebound, right? And if we break down from here, we might see new lows. Now, the alternative scenario was breaking higher from there, in which case we should see, as I said, just one more leg higher before we go lower. And today, if we close like we are trading so far in the day, it's going to be another bearish signal pointing to new lows. And that is why you don't try to fade well-established trends, right? Because the trend prevails until something changes, but you can't start believing that something changes every day. You have a little bit of a rally, of a counter trend rally. So, you see this breakdown in the DXY, as at the same time, the Euro USD is trying to form a morning star formation on the daily chart. Quite a powerful reversal signal. Of course, it's still early on the day. Let's see how we close the day. But if we close more or less like we are, looking like we're going to close today, so far today, that might put an end to the pullback in the euro, and it might end up being as shallow as this one, in which case I think the next move is going to be breaking through this trend line resistance, and inevitably attacking the previous high at 124 and probably higher. Sorry, 123.50 and then probably higher. So no reason to fade this. I anyhow said yesterday that look at the cable acting so nicely. So, you know, cable has done nothing wrong. So bottom line, you know, the theme, risk assets higher, commodities higher, dollar lower, you know, remains, and you shouldn't be trying to fade it until something different happens. Now, I've talked multiple times about, since years ago, about the dangers of misinterpreting a bullish consolidation for a head and shoulders formation, or the opposite, right? A bearish consolidation for an inverted head and shoulders formation. Because this is not a head and shoulders formation unless we break below the neckline. Until that happens, there's a very, very good scenario. The most likely scenario is that we're going to continue higher. So, of course, if this theme prevails, there's no chance that the Oz is going to be breaking down, the Kiwi is going to be breaking down. I mean, this can't happen unless we see this risk asset trend reversing, which will affect the dollar. And when you have risk of environment, of course, the dollar does better against a risk on commodity currencies, right? So keep that in mind. Anyhow,
there's a couple of people asking about gold and silver.
Yeah,
so
that's what I want to say. Let me go through the metals, because I'm pretty sure without looking at the questions that we have questions about them. And what I have to say here is that gold has broken above this flag and is now targeting the 1850 area. That's going to be a major confluence of resistances. Silver is also continuing higher, right? They've done nothing wrong yet. Do we have like solid evidence that we've already found a low? No, we don't. We don't. The better indicator that that might have happened is, as I've said days ago, the GDX. So the GDX is pointing to that direction, that we've probably already found a low in gold and likely silver, because the GDX has done everything right so far. So keep that in mind. But the jury is still out. There is still a chance that we might see a more prolonged consolidation, or even another leg lower before we continue higher. But you've heard me say it 100 times, so I might as well do it at 101. I was never interested in trading those counter trend in any case, ever. And you shouldn't be interested in doing that as well, if you ask me, my personal opinion. So, you know, because I don't want to try to time the bottom, because I know they're going higher in any case, right? Crude oil also consolidating its gains. I think it's a matter of time for crude to break higher as well. I mean, it's inevitable in my opinion. Same thing with natural gas, which has been acting very, very nicely. Now, you know, I'm going to say the usual. Platinum looks more or less like silver. Not sure we've seen the low yet. We might have another leg lower, but you know, it's bullish in any case. Finally, palladium showing some weakness today, but I doubt that any pullback is going to be easy to take us below 2700, right? So worst case scenario, we're going to see a retest of that and then move higher. Let me see what else we have. Let me go through your questions. So, that was for Blake. Look at gold, we did. Some of the different other blockchain companies that have crypto coins are the real deal, some are not, as always is the case. Okay, guys, girls, any more questions or tickers you want us to look at? Going once. Going twice. GDX, we just had a look at it, mate. GDX has done everything right. Everything right. It broke out.
And we've been talking about the breakout for a few days now, right?
It broke out. It came back. It retested the broken channel, found support there. I think the next stepping stone is going to be the 200 DMA at 37 and change. I think above 37 and change, kiss it goodbye. We're probably going to start gunning for the 45.78 high. That's what I think. GRU, sure. Let's have a look at GRU. GRU. Oh, sorry. There. Let's go again. GRU. Here it is. Yeah, this has been doing everything right as well. That's the last time we had a look at it. I said that likely scenario higher, worst case scenario if we get a deeper correction, then higher. But you know, the main case scenario, which was this was a triangle, a flat top triangle, we broke out, we're pushing higher. Where is the target? Where's the first target? Has to be the extension of this. 502. That's where it points at. So target's 5. How low will USD CAD go in your opinion? Much lower, but I wouldn't be chasing it anymore here. You know what I mean? I think it's going much lower, but I think it's already moved a lot. So I wouldn't be chasing it here. I would be more than interested in, you know, I don't want to bullshit you. I'm probably not going to short it. And I'll explain why I'm not going to short it. Because they're very similar with the NOK. And between the two of them, I would rather buy the NOK again, even if when I decide to take profits. So I'm not saying that being short USD CAD is not going to be a good trade in the future as well. But just in comparison, I would again choose to be short the USD NOK, so long the NOK. So I'm probably not going to be buying any Canadian dollars anytime soon because I'd rather be buying NOKs, right? I already have my position. I've been holding it for months. And when I end up exiting that position for a profit, I'm then going to be looking to sell any rallies in USD NOK better than selling any rallies in USD CAD. Okay. So comparatively speaking, my preference will remain the NOK. EVR is this? Oh yeah, there it is. You see, getting there. So yeah, we talked about EVR. That's the main case scenario, right? Alternative scenario is something like this. But my preferred scenario here is a break higher, a move towards 156, and then a much deeper correction, which we haven't had in a very, very long time. ZIM. Let's have a look at ZIM. Is this the one? Is this the one, mate? Okay, yes. Now listen. It is without a doubt very bullish. It has one big problem though, if you ask me. Up. And its problem is this. This move is unsustainable. So at some point, in my opinion, in the not so distant future, this thing is going to have a very, very, very sharp move lower before it can find some, you know, value buyers. God knows if it has any value because nowadays half the equities don't, but whatever. Okay, so I wouldn't be chasing this. No way. No way I would be chasing this. Look for these two zones if you want to be long this. I think inevitably we're going to retrace deep. we're going to have a deep retracement, and you will be able to buy it at a better price. You're in. What's your entry point? 28. Okay, here. Okay. I can tell you what I would do, right? If we close like this, like today's candle, I would take half of it off. It's been a good run. I would take half profits off the table, and then you decide based on what how you trade if you want to keep the rest by trailing your stop loss at break even. The good thing is that 28 is anyhow a key area of support. You don't want to see it go lower from that. So then you can trail your stop at break even for the other half. But I'm afraid that this thing is going to have a deep correction sooner rather than later. It's very likely. Ura, I'm assuming that's uranium, right?
That's the one I'm long of from last Friday.
Yeah, we already talked about it. Now, my little problem with this one, although it has done nothing wrong, nothing at all, is this. Very steep move higher, a likely ascending wedge within this channel, clear RSI divergence. I would be skeptical. I think it's very bullish. I think it's going to do very, very well, but I wouldn't find it unlikely to see a retracement back to 17 to retrace this wedge before we can move higher with renewed momentum once again. So keep that in mind. Okay. I think did you check S&P? KRA, sorry. Let's see, KRA and S&P. First of all, having to do with S&P, let's start from that. I have nothing to add here, right? Because what have we been saying? We've been saying that S&P above 4110, there is nothing technically bearish about it, right? We just have a consolidation. So above 4110, it's outright bullish, end of story. Now, below 4110, we open the door for a move towards 4,000. So above 4110 remains bullish, can easily end up attacking this large wedge once again. Resistance currently closer to 4280. Below 4110, we open the door for a corrective move down to 4,000. As simple as that. Now, having to do with KRE, let's have a look at it, and we close with this. KRE. What do we have here? So, now the big question mark is here. Is this the formation? If this is the formation, we've already broken out. We should be looking higher. Towards minimum 75.5, maximum 82.5. So anywhere between here, these are valid targets. Okay, let's remove this. Nobody cares about the 1440. Okay, these three are valid upside targets. Okay. Now, a little bit skeptical because there is no guarantee this is the formation. Who knows? We might be in a broader triangle, something like this, right? We need more price action to be sure. There is a scenario that we've already broken higher. There's another scenario that we need to consolidate more between 72.90 and 63.40 before we finally see an extension higher. So, the jury's still out. We need more price action to be able to say, okay? BDRY, is this the kind of... No, it isn't. Your question is if this is enough of a pullback. I'm going to argue for you that this is a signal that tells you get the F out of here if you're long. Because when such a parabolic move creates a candlestick like this and then creates a runaway gap and leaves this as an island reversal, get out of here, because we're going to see a deeper correction, at the very least retesting that previous high at 21. At the very least. Might be a deeper correction, right? A move towards this one, 15 and a half, right? But at the very least, I would want to see a reaction from 21. MP, and that's going to be the last one for today. Yeah, nothing has changed here. We talked about this below 37. You should respect this corrective move lower because we have no evidence that it's over yet. I think that eventually this is headed higher, but absolutely no evidence that it's about to do it now. And I'm going to make the argument here that, you know, it keeps getting rejected from this resistance area, right? So keep looking lower. We might attack this channel once again before we can see higher prices. Okay, guys, have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you, Steve.
Bye-bye.
Go get some rest. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye, Stal.
Bye-bye.